What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Bibia Bus. It has been another long minute between videos, but I'm here today to share some updates with you and talk about the upcoming plans for the life in this bus. The first big update is that I would like to introduce to you Echo. If you've seen on my Instagram, I just adopted this little kitten, and she is probably one of the most beautiful little kittens I've ever seen. I'll throw in a couple clips of some videos I've taken of her in the last couple of days, and half the time she's the most adorable little angel, and she'll sleep wherever, and she's kind of like a floppy piece of water, and she'll just fall all over the place, and just you can put her anywhere. The other half of the time she's a little terror, and that's right now. She'll just go from one end of the bus to the other, back and forth, and scratch this and attack that, and use my calf as a scratching post, and that's part of being a kitten owner. If you have a cat, especially in a small space, you'll know exactly what that's like. But I've had her for a week now, and it's been an incredible little addition to the bus, a little companion to have along with me. This is Echo. She's about 15 weeks old, so she's leaving the kitten stage, and she's going to start getting bigger every single day. But if she'll sit still and look, you'll see the most beautiful little blue eyes. Hey, Echo, look over there. Look at the camera. There you go. Good girl. How's that? She's too antsy to sit still right now. Anyways, that's the big update number one. If you ever want to meet her, just let me know and come by and say hi to Echo and come see the bus. Hey girl, look at you. I did spend my evenings this week making sure everything was all set up in here for her, because as you know, if you have a pet in a rig, there's a lot of things that you got to add or change or readjust or find storage for that you don't if you don't have a pet. So I repurposed the storage under this chair on that side of the dinette, and that fits both her litter box as well as her food bowls. And I cut a little hole so she can just pop right through there, use the litter box, eat her food in there. Some of the storage in this chair I also reassigned to some cat accessories like her bulk food storage, some of her cleaning materials. There's a litter genie in there as well, and that all kind of lives under there. And then some of the bigger things that come with her, like her carrier, extra toys, that kind of stuff is in the garage under the bed. But that's the big update number one, is the adoption of Echo, the Bibia Bus kitten, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Updates number two. It is now the first week of January, and that also means that I am ending my current employment and moving on from that job as of the end of next week. And that's both exciting but also intimidating, because this has been something that I've been really enjoying and really excited to be a part of for the last 9 months, and that coming to a close is a little bit bittersweet. But what that does mean is that at the end of next week, I will be starting off going from place to place in the bus for a couple months. Ultimately, at the end of spring, I'll be back up in Washington area, starting some other big projects. More on that to come later. But for the time between, I will be on the road and exploring some of the Southwest, where I can stay warm and in the sun and not be in the rain and snow of the Northwest right now. That being said, I have very little experience with Southeastern California, Arizona, New Mexico, and I want any input that you guys have of your favorite general areas, your favorite specific boondocking locations that you've found, specific resources that may be good to know about that region. Anything that you've experienced in that area of the Southwest, please let me know. Put it in the comments, shoot me a DM on Instagram. Any input that you have would be fantastic going forward, as I'm planning to start this next part of living in the bus on the road. So please hit me up if you have any recommendations. I would love any input at all. So that's going to start next week. And between being on the road, going to Skoolie Palooza. If you're going to Skoolie Palooza, I'm excited to meet you because I will be there for at least most of it. And then right after Skoolie Palooza, I will be flying up to Washington to spend a couple days with my girlfriend for her birthday, which I'm excited about. I'll get some snow time and some cold weather, but I will be leaving the bus here in SoCal, and I'll be flying up with Echo, most likely. So that's the beginning of February, and then from then on, mid-February, end February, and most of March, I'll be back on the road, Arizona, New Mexico. So if you want to meet up in those areas, I'm looking forward to it. Just let me know, and we'll find a way to do it. So that's update number 2. Adopting Echo, moving on from the job, and getting started on the road. So with those updates out of the way, I do want to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions. If you know me personally, or if you've talked to me in the last couple of weeks about that subject, you'll know that I'm not one to really prescribe to the whole notion that, okay, it's a new year, now let's completely reset and reframe the person that I am or the things that I do, and make these resolutions that are high and lofty to change my life. I don't know if that's really the right approach to setting goals and living them out. I don't think you need any sort of occasion at any point in your life to say, hey, let's have a little reset and readjust. However, that being said, I do acknowledge that the new year is, for a lot of people, a really great time to say, what are some things that I want to look for specifically, or what are some things that I want to change and develop and grow through in the year that's coming. So I've tried to take that kind of perspective and approach and say, okay, what are some of those things, especially right now in my transition phase of going from working this job to being on the road, and a complete shift in daily lifestyle and the things that I'm going to be dealing with. So it's more than just a new year on the calendar. There's a completely new stage of life that I'm going to be entering in the next week or so. So with that in mind, those two together, I've kind of thought of a few things that I want to try, implement, and work on here in the Bibia Bus. And I was intentional about thinking of these things in a kind of abstract way. I know some of you that are going to be very mindset and goal oriented are going to have a hard time understanding why I kept them a little bit loose, and it's partially because of my own psychology. When I set a goal, the minute that I fall short or fail, I take it really hard and I beat myself up about it. And in the same time, once I miss it once, I'll say, that's it, it's done, and I'll abandon the whole approach. So having really concrete, really hard-line goals sometimes doesn't work really well for me. Yes, when it's talking about like deliverables for a client or things that I'm doing for work or that kind of stuff, that's a different story. You know, task-oriented things is a different story. If you're talking lifestyle stuff, the minute that I fall short of just something that I wish I could do, then it just kind of all falls apart for me. So that's why I wanted to keep these a little bit like just general living wise, things that I want to implement. And, you know, you'll find that these are really loose. The main goal and I guess resolution that I want to look for in the coming year or the coming phase of my life is, in general, a more well-rounded approach to personal wellness. And that extends into several different areas of my life. First of which, physical wellness. I have all but abandoned any effort into taking care of my body in the last year. Oh my goodness. Echo just tore down my front curtain. Anyways, I've all but abandoned my approach to staying physically in shape in the last year. And it's taken its toll on my body. I'm not as young as I used to be. Some of you are going to say, oh, you're still so young. I'm really not. I'm not 20 anymore. And when you're 20, you can do whatever you want. You're not that sore afterwards. Your body recovers and recuperates, and then you're good to go. At this point in my life, I'll go weeks without exercising, and my back will feel it, and my knees will feel it. And everything I do, I'm like, oh, like this didn't used to happen to me. And having that feedback loop start being in place, it's really made me realize that that's something that I've completely neglected. And I want to do much better at that. And this isn't just about like working out to get big muscles or lift heavier weights. That's not the point. I don't want that kind of goal anymore. When I was 20, 21, I was doing that kind of stuff. Now I just want to wake up and feel good. I don't want my back to hurt. I want to be able to go and do something or stand somewhere and not be like, moving around because I'm uncomfortable. So things like yoga, daily stretching, mobility exercises, those kind of things are going to be my priority. When I have more time and more effort and more energy, then sure, I'll try go on a run. I'll go on a ride. I'll do some more endurance training just to keep my heart healthy. But it's not about a physique or a visual appearance goal anymore. Like, that's not what I want. I just want to feel good. So that's part one of my wellness, my physical well-being. The second phase of that is just being more mindful of what I put into my body. When I'm so busy that it's hard to focus on my cooking and my eating and my meal planning, it's really difficult to be intentional about getting the right kind of nutrients, getting the right kind of sustenance that will both feed me, fuel me, and also build my body to be healthier in the future. And so that's something that I want to look at and be a bit more intentional about in the coming months this year. And hopefully once I'm not working 9 hours a day, I will have a little bit more flexibility to go to the store and say, hey, what can I really be intentional about making for myself this week? So that's part two of the physical side of the goals. The next area of wellness that I want to prioritize is my mental health. And not that I've fallen into a very challenging or difficult place, but the reality is I've experienced more anxiety and more stress in the last year than I have in years prior. Without the tools and the systems to equip myself and address those challenges, it can be very intimidating and challenging to get past some of those things. So I want to make sure that I have the right systems in place, the right reactions. Oh, don't show that to people. The right reactions to certain stressors or anxiety moments for myself. And whether that's being able to take some mindful time and meditate, take a minute in reflection, be able to put away distractions and read a book. I want to read more because that's a very relaxed and isolated kind of mental space. It's not about the book, it's not about whether it's a novel or a self-help or a business or whatever, but like being able to set everything else aside and just read. It's a very calming and reflective time for me. So I want to read more. I want to have the right conversations with the right people that build a support system and ultimately will make for a better mental health environment for myself. So that's one of the other things that I'd like to approach considering my overall wellness. I am working on a website. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, and one of my goals this year is to build a thorough resource pool for all things bus life. As I've said before, this is my first build that I've ever done. I've never done something like this before, and look how it turned out. It took me hundreds and hundreds of hours of research, and I've learned a lot of things. And I've learned that there's a lot of garbage out there. And I want to build a website with resources and information that can get people like you that may be interested in doing a build like this right to the point of what I found to be the most useful and most informative information. Obviously, I'm not an expert and I'm not the best in the industry, but I do feel like I have a voice and a position and something to offer and an approach that can be useful to a lot of you. So that's one of the things that I'm working on, and keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. Hopefully it'll launch pretty soon. And part of that's going to go in tandem with the website is that I'm going to start a little podcast series. I know that podcast as a platform is a very healthy and growing medium. I feel like I have a lot to share in the form of long form audio, whether that's story style or informative or interview kind of stuff, all surrounding bus life, bus builds, tiny living, that kind of stuff. I would love to be able to share more deeply and more effectively, and I think podcasting is a great medium to do so. So the website and the podcasting is going to kind of be built at the same time, and hopefully those will be out in a couple weeks, and you guys can start diving into some of that content. Hey girl. Anyways, those are some of my kind of loose personal goals that I want to focus on for this year. If you have some resolutions, feel free to throw them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys are working on or thinking about for this year, what changes you're making, what things have been inspiring you to do something different or to put more effort into something that you're already doing and you want to develop a deeper and closer connection to that part of your life. Now that Echo has finally calmed down a little bit, I guess this is another version, a little introduction. This is Echo. She's kind of white, kind of gray, kind of tan, with the most beautiful little blue eyes you ever saw on a cat. You probably can't hear her right now, but she's purring like nothing else. Here, let's try.
Speak loudly.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Happy New Year's to you and your family and those around you. Thank you for watching and tuning in to the Bibia Bus, and I hope that you have a good start to your year. And maybe I'll see you at Skoolie Palooza. Maybe I'll see you on the road somewhere. But if I don't, best wishes, and we'll see you next time here in the Bibia Bus.